Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report will be published, which is based on thousands of peer-reviewed studies and put together by hundreds of respected scientists. Leaked drafts suggest it will predict that climate change will cause violent conflict, displace millions of people, and wipe trillions of dollars off the global economy. Time is running out. The latest science suggests that as much as 80% of known fossil fuel reserves must stay in the ground if we are to have any hope of avoiding dangerous climate change. In a number of other countries, fracking is banned. We remain deeply concerned at the prospect of fracking here in the UK. We'd like to thank the people gathered here for all their support. We've been advised by our lawyer to make no further comments at this stage. Thank you.
Here to bear witness to Caroline Lucas, who's the local Green MP in Brighton, and she's been arrested for sitting down at the demonstration or some other hideous crime against fracking here in Sussex. It was the first well where there was the possibility that they would frack. Thousands of people turned out to protest against it, and I've been here to do media interviews with the British press, offering my own view of fracking.
Yeah, but why is it so important, this court case?
It's the first time a sitting member of Parliament has been arrested for an act of non-violent direct action.
She sat down.
She sat down at a protest in a field in Sussex, got arrested, and is now in court here behind me.
Now, I do see that you're the only one in suit, basically, that turned up for support.
Most days I wear a suit when I'm going about my business. Not always a tie, but most days a suit.
Yeah. And what's at stake here inside this building?
I think what's at stake is national. Here in the United Kingdom, key elements of our government want to test a model that would involve fracking our way to prosperity and shutting down renewables if they can get away with it. Fortunately, not everyone in the government feels the same way, and certainly not in the Green opposition to fracking. In my view, this is something that will never happen. It can't happen because of climate change. There's way too much fossil fuels in conventional reserves of oil and gas to burn if we're to have a chance of staying below safe levels of climate change. And yet, of course, the oil and gas industry wants to pile all these so-called unconventional, fracked resources of oil and gas. So it can't happen for environmental reasons, but increasingly it can't happen for economic reasons, because if you look just below the surface in America, what's happening is that they're spending $1.50 for every dollar they get back in oil and gas income. So it's looking completely unsustainable. It's looking more like a retirement party for the oil and gas industry than a boom. And of course Shell knows this very well, because they've just written off more than $2 billion in assets, supposed assets in American shale.
Still, you hear stories about America becoming energy independent again, thanks to the shale oil and shale gas boom. Golden years ahead.
You know,
why not here?
To me, there's an edge of madness in this. Let's start with America and look at those facts first. I mean, America is consuming 80 million barrels a day and getting on for 9 million barrels a day. So they've still got enormous imports to overcome. And at the peak in the shale oil production in North Dakota and Texas, they're only going to be producing just over 2 million barrels a day. This is just a mantra. Now, America is never going to be, Saudi America is never going to be standalone in oil and gas. And as for the idea it can be exported to Britain, where we too have plunging North Sea oil and gas production, to imagine that you can superimpose the industrialization of areas of good shale drilling in America on this country, the rural countryside of Britain. I mean, it will be conservative people, not just Green members of Parliament like Caroline Lucas who will be coming to court to stop it happening.
Yeah, but are those claims exaggerated?
The claims of the industry?
Yeah, are the claims of the industry exaggerated?
the oil-
Fracking is the new solution.
In my experience, and I used to be a creature of this industry, for 11 years I taught basically petroleum geology at Imperial College. I know many people in the industry. It now has a really disgraceful record of hyping the potential for oil and gas, and this is going to come home to
Some support? Well, we'll try to pick it up then just before. People are promising mountains of gold, basically. This is, the new solution of fracking. Do you think those claims are exaggerated?
I think increasingly the oil and gas industry must be held into account for hyping the narratives that it has. For me, it really does resemble the run-up to the financial crisis when you had investment banks telling us they had invented a whole new way of inventing wealth with mortgage-backed securities, and now we're being told by the oil and gas industry that America can be self-sufficient in oil and gas. There is no way that it can. That even if the shale boom, supposed boom in America, does turn out to be a boom and not a retirement party for the gas industry, that it can be exported to the rest of the world. And in many countries there are reasons to believe that it just simply can't. And here in Britain, you could start off with the water requirements, you could add on the fact that we have a small country here with a very conservative population who just will not tolerate the levels of industrialization of the countryside that Americans in Texas do. So this whole set of narratives is very dangerous, and one of my big concerns, and what I write about in my book, is actually that it's driving us all towards a global energy crisis within the next few years, in just the same way that the financial sector was driven by the ludicrously hyped claims of investment bankers towards global financial crisis.
We'll get back to that later on during the day. Last question here about fracking. Holland is also considering, getting in on the shale. Holland is actually also considering getting in on the shale gas or shale oil boom.
Yes.
What's your message?
My message is, look at what's happening here in Britain. The first well they tried to frack in the south of England, there are thousands of people lining up to oppose it, literally requiring half the county's police force just to get the lorries with all the drill pipes through the people. No, I mean, I think the Dutch are sometimes known for being more sensible than the British, and I'm fully confident that they will be just as opposed as the British people are.
Okay, thanks for now.
Stay in front of it. Have you got any words? Any words to say about today, mate?
Well, I think that Caroline has absolutely shown what it should be to be a politician. To get in there and get involved with the local community and what they're asking for and what they're expecting the council to do and the authorities to do. She's got in there and her son. She sat down in the road with us lot, with her local community, really supported her local community fully. It's a shame that other politicians aren't prepared to stand up so strongly.
Thank you, mate.
I'd just like to say, Caroline Lucas is MP for Brighton. She cares about Brighton. Where was Francis Moore that protested against it? Where was Francis Moore protesting against it? Oh, of course he weren't. He's got shares in Quadrilla. So that tells you need to know is that the sitting MPs in these constituencies have got shares in the companies, they've got vested interests, therefore they've got a direct conflict of interest, therefore they should be removed from government. Altogether, hell, go. There's no politicians have a vested interest in private industry in this country. It's wrong. And I'm afraid to say, Cameron and Clegg, the game is up. The game is up, we're coming for you.
Caroline was arrested, I think democracy was turned on its head in this context. If you look at it in terms of the only MP, in my view, who's acted, well, she is the only MP who's acted with physical integrity, come down to the drill site, sat down peacefully, non-violently, not contravening any natural law for sure, whether or not they find she's contravened some peculiar, silly, created law. out of integrity. She was arrested and led away by a Brighton and Hove officer, one of the tools of her own democratic system. The only elected representative who was there acting in that way was then arrested and charged by that system and is now on trial. For heaven's sake, what does this say? So it's crucial. I mean, it's a media circus, of course it is. There are other people on trial as well today who did the same thing. There are many, many people who've been on trial for doing this. A lot of the cases have been quietly dropped. Some people, a lot have been acquitted, and some people have been convicted, which is very unfortunate, but very few. I learned today that in Australia there's not been one conviction of a protester against this industry. Lots of arrests, but that's interesting.
For the people who say that she's done it for her job, for the publicity, do you think that that is actually what her job is?
Do I think what her job is?
To actually do these things. Being an MP is more than just sitting in the Houses of Parliament.
It's a really good question, isn't it? Because our members of Parliament are talking heads, aren't they? People have lost faith in politicians. They chat away, they say things we don't believe them. Well, there's no point me saying that, everybody knows that. So, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Could it be that we've got to the point where our elected representatives need to act a little bit more decisively? We had Joseph Ove, who's an MEP, French MEP, came to Balcombe and was encouraging everyone, exhorting everyone to sit down in our droves. He said they can't arrest all of you. There's nothing to fear. We've got to do something.
The food of protectors.
Which one?
Today we're having vanilla nourishment. Thank you. Tomorrow we're having banana.
I don't think we've got to quite like that, do we?
Well, not for me. I'll do what they're going to do.
Is that one right? I'm doing this for you, Mum. There's too many of them. General support, I think, for the Green.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Mark.
Cameron out, Cameron out, Cameron out, Cameron out, Cameron out. It is a mixed message, it's quite succinct.